Hello everyone, we are going to talk about a bunch of interesting games that we've been playing, particularly one that we've just finished playing that I think is, it's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, we've got 6 games to talk about in total, as we always do. As we always say, they don't have to be new games, just games we've either stumbled across or really enjoyed playing. Sometimes we don't, I don't think that's the case in this video though. So yeah, which games have we been playing? Well, let's find out.
Alright, let's start off with one we've just finished up playing, and it's Vampire Survivors, which we've put about 10 hours into, I think, so far.
Yeah, I hadn't actually played this game at all until, I don't know, about a week ago maybe. We've played it a good few times since in co-op, and it is unbelievable. I mean, I know that's not news to some people, but I'd never really got it, I must admit. You know, the whole, you don't shoot yourself, and it seeming, you know, relatively basic. It looked fun, but I didn't really get it until I played it, you know?
Yeah, and it really relies on cooperation like no other game, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've never played it in single player. I don't know what it would be like in that, but I can imagine now, having played a big chunk of it in co-op, it would feel like a step down, because in co-op it's one of the best co-op games I think I've ever played.
Yeah, incredibly good. So basically the premise is that you choose one of your players. There are loads of different classes, and it seems like, I mean, we've only probably tried half the classes. Seems like everyone has their real strength and weakness. And then you try and cooperate your abilities. So for example, only one of you can pick up any one of the power-ups. So if you get the health, then it's kind of wise for the other person to go for the armor, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when we first started playing, we didn't realise that, did we? So we were just picking the best. Obviously, every time you level up, it gives you a choice of power-ups that you can choose from. So we would just pick the best one for us to try and build a good character. Then started to realise, actually, if one person picked it, it never showed up for the other person. So we started distributing it so that one person, as you say, got armour, whereas the other took max health, or focusing on one weapon each that complemented ones that the other person had. And before you know it, you are really starting to slay, you know, carve through the enemies, because you know, the waves are relentless, aren't they?
They really are. So you have like your base enemies, don't you? Then you've got like mini bosses.
Yeah.
And then you got like boss enemies, and they release like, was it like trophies that you get?
Little treasure chests, aren't they?
Little treasure chests, yeah. And then they will give a randomized person. There's just a real lovely balance of randomness and skill.
Yeah, exactly right. There is some serious strategy to it, which I didn't expect at first. I just thought it was going to be see how long you can last, and it is that. But what you do really does determine how long you do last. Much more so than I expected, you know.
Yeah, there are certain like checkpoints. So at 10 minutes something happens, 20 minutes and 30 minutes something potentially happens.
Yeah.
And you're almost prepping for those moments, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly right. And as you say, just going back to the characters, you know, they do all look at first glance pretty much the same, albeit they have one weapon each that you can get. But those weapons aren't exclusive to them, because you can pick them up as power-ups. It's just a starting weapon, isn't it? But they also have like a small ability or skill to them as well, don't they? Like the one I use most gains more experience, for example, which is not necessarily useful. I just seem to have got used to that character, you know?
Yeah, and although you can't aim your weapons, you kind of can, because some of them will go straight out in front of you.
Yeah.
You can use those to knock back enemies, and you will be, by the end of the game at least, really directing your shots carefully to try and make openings.
Exactly, and that's what it's about, because at times the screen will fill, and
ridiculous,
we'd got to 20 minutes, hadn't we?
Yeah.
Well, quite consistently, and then there's this moment, I think it's around about 25, give or take, where the screen just fills and they just completely envelop on you, and we almost kind of, to start with, took it as, well, that's the end of the game. You know, that's the game saying you've had your fun, off you go. But then we realised if we do start to be much more strategic in what we pick up, and we complement each other's characters, and we stand in a certain way and this and that, we can get past that point. Not much further past it.
No.
And I'd love to know how long people can get on their runs. I mean, our best time is 30 minutes, 14 seconds. Which seemed like an achievement, I must say. But yeah, I'd love to hear what other people can do.
Yeah, there comes a point we just couldn't move anymore. Like you just like huddled together in the corner, like it's quite tragic, but it's also quite epic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fun, and you know, you obviously there's a deflation of dying.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about these games. You know, some people don't like roguelites because they feel there's no progression. For me, the progression comes in, certainly in co-op anyway, of having that sort of session where you get further than you've ever got before, or you last longer than you've ever lasted before, and that for me feels like a win. It doesn't have to be that you beat a game. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we've actually seen there's another one of these style of games coming next week that now we're more interested about, aren't we?
Yeah, I forget the name. I know it's something Survivors. Obviously, they've gone along with the name, and that one does look good, aesthetically talking. But it's only one player.
Oh, lame.
And that does seem like a major misstep, doesn't it?
Yeah, why wouldn't you put 2 in there?
I honestly don't know. Having just played that, I don't know why they've decided upon that. But I mean, back to this game, it's honestly, like, you hear about certain games and you look at them and think, okay. It's not often, for me at least, that I play it and think, wow, this is better than people have said,
Especially for $5.
Yeah.
It's like, it might be
cheaper than that. It's like £4, I think.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, definitely pick up Vampire Survivors if you haven't done. It's just incredible.
Yeah, fantastic game for sure.
Okay, the game I've been really putting some time into, and this is going to sound quite strange, but it's Metal Gear Solid 2 HD.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because I'd played it 1 back in the day. I actually played a bit of 3. But I'd never really finished the second game.
Yeah.
So I've put a load of time into the second one, and I am loving it. And I know that's a bit obvious, I'm sure most people would love it. But there were a lot of things when I first tried it, because I tried it and then I went away. So there's like a mechanic where you have to like hold people up, like you bring your pistol up and like they put their hands up and you can shoot them in the head or you can choke them out and stuff. I didn't get that at first, and I found the controls kind of fiddly, and they are kind of fiddly. Like holding the button down and then releasing to fire. Is a very weird Hideo Kojima kind of thing to do. It's like, why would you do that? But in this version, they are slightly better. So like if you've played the PlayStation 2 version, it's got a few weird quirks in it. But I'm loving it. Like, it is nonsense, I found that first Metal Gear, and then it switches over to another character, which is actually very clever because it then takes place in the first game's start level.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was like, I didn't see that coming. And then I remember playing that game. And you see that character, so it's a nice little overlap that he's kind of baked into it.
Yeah, because I never played, because obviously I grew up with Nintendo consoles.
Yeah.
And the first non-Nintendo console that I owned was the PS2.
Nice.
So I'd never played Metal Gear, or Metal Gear Solid, I should say. But I did play the second one.
Yeah.
Because it was obviously the big hype game that came out at the time and everyone was going mad for it. So I played it and I very much enjoyed it. I completed it back in the day.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that knowledge of the series really at all, and
I think it does rely on it.
Yeah, I didn't get any of the references, and I remember, I said to you the other day actually, I remember finishing it, that last level, I believe you're on a rooftop or something,
No spoilers.
I won't spoil it, other than you're on a rooftop, Whoa, what? Game's ruined, man. What do you mean you're on a rooftop? But I do remember the end credits, if you like, the cutscenes, the ending being so long, like 45 minutes or so, if memory serves me, and it being at 2 o'clock in the morning, like you used to just power through a game, you're like, no, tonight's happening, I'm going to finish it. I had like work in the morning or whatever, and this last cutscene was going on forever, and I was like, oh, come on, man, I just want to finish this. But yeah, good game from what I remember.
He does that in every game. He loves it.
Yeah.
And he's talking about he's making a new actual espionage game.
Right.
Because everyone keeps asking for Metal Gear Solid, he's making a brand new one.
Oh, okay.
And he reckons that, it's going to be the most... He said if you show your grandparents, they're going to think it's a film.
Right.
So that could be a pro or a con.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, just for my personal taste, the perfect mesh of movie and game are things like Until Dawn.
Yeah.
That sort of experience. I like that because it's like playing a movie. They're traditionally about 4 hours long, 4 or 5 hours, which for me is a decent length. You do play as much as you watch cutscenes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you play a lot more in games like Metal Gear Solid than you cutscene, but when the cutscenes come along, they're so long.
Yeah.
You almost forget you're playing a game for a minute. I like the balance in games like that. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he comes up with then.
It will. You've also got something to look forward to because Quantic Dream's next game is almost out.
Oh, nice.
Have you played the one with the Android? Oh, what is it called? Oh, that's so annoying. Why is it that you get to this age and your brain just doesn't
work anymore?
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Well, in the comments, you know what I'm talking about. The Quantic Dreams game where you play as an android detective and he starts off in the skyscraper.
Oh, I know the one you mean. I do.
Yeah.
I haven't played it. No.
Yeah. Have you not?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you two should play that.
I don't know why. I remember it coming out and I remember seeing some screenshots and small clips of it and thinking, yeah.
It's great.
I kind of forgot it existed, to be honest. So
it's like
I'll get onto
iRobot.
that. Yes, I know the one you mean, and I do want to play that for sure.
Ooh,
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you've got something to look forward to there.
Yeah.
Lovely. All right. So on to the next one.
All right. The next one then that I've been playing is, talking of movies actually, is Jurassic World Aftermath.
Nice.
Now, obviously, I mean, the age that we are, Jurassic Park, the first movie which came out in '93, was a big deal. It was a big event, wasn't it? Like that when it came out, just, aside from going to the film, going to the cinema and seeing it, all the news was about it. It not just about the movie, but it was about, can this be real?
Yeah.
Could this really happen, etc., etc. It was a big event, and obviously you had the sequels and obviously the book, don't forget, which I've read and it's very good. And then Jurassic World came along.
Yeah.
And the first movie I didn't mind. It was very much of its time in terms of it became more of a popcorn movie, where I do feel the first one was slightly more cerebral, to be fair. And then its sequels come along, and I mean, by now it's just absolute garbage as far as I'm concerned.
Here's a premise for you.
Yeah.
I think the first Jurassic Park was a horror.
I don't necessarily disagree, yeah. I think it had elements of horror.
Like, if you ask anyone now that's listening to picture a scene, a lot of them are seeing the puddle, right, in the cup.
Yeah,
the ripples
or the T-Rex and the looking in the rearview mirror and seeing that, you know, objects may appear larger than they are or smaller than they are, whatever way around it is. Yeah, there's some iconic, horrific moments in there, for sure. But back to this game. So this is set after the first...
Yeah, we're talking about
we are talking about a game, yeah. This is set after the first World movie.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so it's set in between World and whatever the next one was in that pile of crap it's come since. And so you start off on a plane and you're flying to... Is it Isla Nublar or Isla Nublar?
Isla Nublar.
And you get attacked by kind of pteranodons and you crash and whatnot. It's set in the first person, and obviously you're exploring the island. I don't think you even know why you're there. I think you're told you're going there to collect some information or do routine maintenance or something. Something, and then you're in contact with this lady that's kind of giving you snippets of where you need to go and whatnot. Like the first scene after the crash is a T-Rex, and you can kind of see it through the wreckage, and it eats the pilot, and then it does one, and you kind of make your way around. I mean, from what I've seen, I'm about, I don't know, a few hours in. Yeah. Most of what I've seen is raptor-based, lots of raptors. You know, you're being constantly stalked by these raptors, which makes sense because the World series had that whole thing about the 4 raptors, didn't it? Yeah. Blue and this and that and all the rest. Bob was in there, wasn't he? Yeah, certainly a Bob in there. I mean, I didn't know this when I started playing, but it became very obvious very quickly. I thought to myself, I've got a feeling this was a VR game elsewhere, and it was. Yeah,
I've done this in VR. It's clearly it's a lot better in VR.
Yeah.
A lot better.
It's not bad outside of it. It just kind of loses all sense of scale. You know, it becomes very by the numbers. Turn this switch on, go there. Raptor will attack you. Jump in a cabinet. Look through the grates.
Yeah, you know what? These all get it wrong. Everyone gets it wrong, right? Even in VR, they think, you want jump scare. No, you don't. You want to think there's a jump scare, and you want to interact with the dinosaurs that aren't scaring you. Like in the second part of the game, there's one that's like, like herbivore. Yeah. That's probably the best moment of the whole thing. Oh, really? In VR. Yeah. So you're like, wow, look, there's what's the one with the horns? Triceratops. Yeah, there's one of those. And it's, that was my favourite moment.
Yeah, I can see that actually, because like going back to Jurassic Park, some of the moments there, like the initial seeing the Brachiosaurus and the the Triceratops that's unwell, those interactions were just as memorable as the horror moments later on. With this one, I mean, you are right, it does. As soon as the raptors turn up, it becomes so by the numbers. You're going to get attacked. There's going to be times, because of the random nature of how they move, that as soon as you respawn and you walk through a door, they walk straight in the room and jump on you again, and you have to go back again. And before you know it, that fear has become annoyance or frustration. And it does stagger me how often they get that part wrong. And the next game I'm going to talk about does the same thing as well. Like, I know it's not a horror game, but those horror moments or tense moments, whatever you want to call them, you need to lessen them to heighten the impact. And they never get that.
No, and it does become backtrack the game as well, because you operate from that like closet, don't you? And there's all the different things you have to do, and you're just going backwards and forwards. I was like, it's not bad like you say, but it's not. It is a VR game. Play it in VR.
Yeah, no, exactly right. That's all you can say, isn't it? As soon as I started playing it, I was just like, there's something missing, and I can't put my finger on it. And then I thought, I bet this was in VR. I bet that's what I'm missing here. And looked it up, and I was like, okay, makes sense.
Can you imagine you're crouched down, you're peering over and seeing the raptors? Exactly, it's a very different feeling.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if this is specific to the non-VR version, probably, but the run feature. You have to click the stick in to run. It doesn't work half the time. So when you get attacked by a raptor,
not with your Joy-Cons,
just strolling along. My Joy-Cons are pants, but even on the Pro controller, you're just having like walking on sunshine, just having a little stroll while he's biting your ass. It's not good, is it?
That's never good.
No, you don't want that. But it's fine. But as Mark says, chances are in VR is the way.
Yes. All right. Next up, then we're going to talk about. I almost called her Pointy Croft.
Pointy Croft.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm doing the graphics comparison yesterday, and you actually forget how pointy she was.
Yeah.
She's very pointy. So I've got other footage there, and you can actually switch backwards and forwards. And fair play, they've done really good work with things like the models and the environmental lighting and stuff like that. Weirdly,
so just as this is Tomb Raider. In case anyone's confused.
Sorry.
By who Pointy Croft is.
Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider. Wow. Like it though. Tomb Raider, the HD remaster 1 to 3. Nice succinct title there.
Yeah.
They've Aspire and I think Saber have worked together to kind of remaster these. And you can do that thing where you can flick back and forward between the two styles.
Yes.
And I've been enjoying them. I've been a bit annoyed by them as well.
Right.
You know, there's certain things that you just cannot change from the core game design. You know, there's certain ways that you have to stand. Platforming in this is difficult.
Yeah.
If you're used to it in any modern game, you're going to come to this and be like, what the hell? How can you have Resident Evil tank controls in a game like this?
Yeah.
And then there's a modern control system, which you saw, and it just doesn't feel like it's quite baked.
Yeah, and funny enough, the game I'm going to talk about in a minute has the same problem. It's strange how moving away from tank controls when they implement both in a game, they always seem to semi-rely on the tank controls still in what they're implementing, and the two don't mesh.
They don't mesh. No, they don't. And in certain genres, the tank controls actually heightened the experience, and in this, I don't think it was the case.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just like, I don't know. Maybe it really helped them to kind of program in the platforming or something, you know, because you could do all sorts of different moves. But what I will say, for 25 odd quid, bearing in mind some of the re-releases we've seen, even from Nintendo, that's not bad for free games and free sets of DLC. And I believe there's talk of a physical coming.
The last I heard was them saying no news yet, so I don't know.
So AKA, let's see how much we sell.
And then we'll make a decision.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's funny with Tomb Raider, because I've just said a minute ago, obviously I didn't have a PS1. And my mates did, and I had the N64 by that point. So we kind of had a decent amount between us that we could share games and you know, go around each other's houses and whatnot. But I never really played the Tomb Raider games until they re-released them on the Wii.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get on with them. I just, you know, it's after the fact by then, after the event, and I'd played Mario 64 by then. And, you know, don't get me wrong, like, I am very much a Nintendo fan, always have been, but I'm not necessarily a huge Mario fan. I like their games, but I wanted to play a more realistic style game in 3D.
Yeah.
And Tomb Raider seemed the answer. But playing it that many years later, having played Mario 64, which controlled so well, I mean, the camera was a bit of a pain, you know, looking back. But at the time, then trying to play that, it was difficult. It was difficult.
They're so very, very different. I think what I loved about Tomb Raider, and still love and still holds up, is some of the level designs are brilliant. Like, they really make you actually think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You'll get to a door, unlock it, do your bits, and then come back to it and it's locked again. Any other game would have left that unlocked. It's because it's on like some kind of timer or something.
Right.
It just does loads of things like that. And also I remember being a kid, and I remember actually having to get older before I could play it because I couldn't control it properly.
Yeah.
You know, I had to really think. There's an element of where, like, pre-planning. You know, like, where you know the tiger's coming and you're kind of pre-planning where you're going to jump to, the direction you're going to jump. And when you start to get into that flow of it, it's actually really enjoyable because I don't know if it was by design, you're almost trying to fight against the controls and you know what I mean? And you're planning that side of it. And then the actual exploration, it always felt like I was in a different place rather than all these other games that feel like you're on rails.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, because obviously I did play the Resident Evil games on the PlayStation. Like I said, mates had it and whatnot. And obviously similar control scheme, not the same, but similar in some respects. And that always worked for me. I guess because of the fixed camera angles and whatnot. And whilst it was action-packed as you went further in, it started quite slow and you got used to the controls as you went along.
Yeah.
So for me, those controls worked in that sort of game. Anything 3D by that point, as I say with Mario, you know, obviously the stick on the 64 and you're backflipping and you're doing this, it felt so natural. It was a culture shock trying to play anything that had any sort of a control scheme in 3D.
Yeah.
You know?
You should play Parasite Eve. I restarted that again the other day.
Yeah, that's a Resi type game, isn't it?
Square.
Yeah.
Good game.
Yeah.
Really good. Good start in the Opera House. You'd like that.
Yeah, that's again another one that I do need to get on. I've heard good things over the years. But in terms of this collection, you are right. For the price you're paying, 3 games, and they have put the work in.
They have.
Fair play to them, you know, the difference. And I love being able to switch on the fly between old and new graphics. That's such a, you know, any game that wants to do it, don't go into a menu to do it. Have one button that changes it. It's great, you know. So fair play to them. And if you're a Lara Croft or what you call her? Pointycroft fan, then there we go. You're covered.
It's now Curvy Croft. It actually is. Fair play. Fair play.
There we go. Curvy Croft. Right, my last one is Alisa Developer's Cut, which I did review recently.
Yeah.
Talking of Resident Evil, very much in the style of the old school survival horror games. A decent game, I must say, a decent game. If you've got any sort of nostalgia for those sort of games, obviously Parasite Eve being another, Dino Crisis, any of those sort of games, you're going to play this and you're going to be like, oh wow, I feel like I've just discovered a relic a game that released years ago I never played, you know, but it does come with some flaws.
Yeah.
And the flaws come, unfortunately, because I feel personally that sometimes developers get a bit too caught up in the nostalgia. And they just need to take a step back and say, what did we love about those games? Whatever. Now, let's be honest with ourselves, take the glasses off, the rose-tinted glasses. What did we hate about those games? Let's improve these things. Let's not add them in because it's nostalgic. Let's improve these things.
The only thing I will say, I'm going to say it because I totally agree with you. I think they've just thrown in so many monsters. You walk down the steps, there's 57 million monsters. It's one of those where you have to press the button and it walks down the steps. That annoys me. I'd say that right out.
Yeah.
Maybe this developer liked those things.
Maybe they did. And if it's a passion project and you're the only one playing it, fill your boots, me old friend. But if you're selling it to the masses...
Your boots, me old friends. You're listening.
Then you have to think past that. I'm sorry, like art is very subjective. And if, as you say, if he loved that about the game, and this is my game, and I'm going to make it exactly how I want, do what you got to do. If you expect to sell copies on word of mouth, then you have to expect sales might suffer if it's a very divisive thing that you loved back in the day. You know, that's my take on it.
I agree, and I think it's objectively, for the vast majority, a divisive thing.
Exactly. And I do think sometimes just be a bit more objective. I can't make a game, you know, I can't, and he can, and he's done a great job. It's a good game. If I could make a game though, I would be slightly more objective with some of these things. There are some things about it though that are nothing to do with the old games. These are new choices. You've just mentioned one of them, like the sheer amount of enemies. Literally, the first proper screen. So you'll come out of the room, you fight one enemy. She does that. They're like mechanical dolls. I should have said sorry. She does the head turn. You know, you've got all the classic. You kill it. You're like, what was that? Wow. You know, great setup. Walk out into the hallway, go down the stairs, 16 enemies jump on you. And they're not even slow shambling, they just pounce on you. They scuttle across the floor. As you say, you press A to walk down the stairs and it's an animation. By the time you're down the stairs, they've walked towards the stairs and you get hit. Have one enemy that's back is facing, or is facing away from you, sorry, as you come down. It turns as you walk down the stairs, goes towards you slowly. Give yourself a moment to think, another one, crap, right, I've got to go this way. Walk into the next room, there's another one, by all means. Slow it down.
I have to say, he's got a point. You could make the enemies slightly more difficult, have a lot less of them, and, you know.
Exactly. This is a very difficult game, but this is nothing to do with difficulty. What I'm saying is nothing to do with...
No, it isn't.
I'm talking about tension and effect.
Exactly.
Building that tension. Allowing your world that you've built, which is great, a chance to breathe. It's nothing to do with difficulty, all right? That's not the point, because games were difficult back then, and there's nothing wrong with them being difficult today. Let me avoid one enemy, take a short breath, walk off screen, fix camera angles, another one, move again. You know, don't just throw it all at me at once.
Exactly.
Having said that, this is a good game. I know I've just ranted, and I
don't think it was a negative rant though.
It wasn't a negative. It was constructive, but it was just because I did a review. This is just my chance to just say a bit more about what, you know, I feel works more in horror games as someone that loves horror in all forms of media. But it is a good game and it does a lot very well. And the highest compliment is I felt like it was, say, a Dreamcast game that I'd like Parasite Eve, say, or you know, that someone said to me, oh, did you ever play Alisa? And I, which one's that? Oh, it was on the Dreamcast. Oh, nice. I'll have a look into that. And, you know, flaws and warts and all, I'm playing it for the first time and I felt like that. And that's a big compliment because that's good game design and that is nostalgia used well. I just wish they'd just
turn it down a
little bit, you know.
All right, I want to finish off then with Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak. I know this has been out a long time, but I've had an awesome moment in the last week where my daughter picked it up. Well, actually, no, there's a discount on I think it was, where did I say? Was it Game Online, I think?
Game, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like 11 quid, something like that. Something like 11 or 14, something like that. Really cheap. So I picked it up for her. She's been playing Monster Hunter Stories.
Yes.
She has like every monster. It's unreal. Like, kids, man, they've had so much time, don't they, to really invest in games. She has every monster leveled out. She's like, oh look, I've got this like raging Rajang. I'm like, oh, it's amazing. Like, then she goes to this cave and defeats this ludicrous thing with her like overpowered crew. I'm like, oh my word. But anyway, yeah, so then she was really into the Monster Hunter vibe. So she was like, okay, she tried this when she was a bit younger and she was like, oh no, I don't want to hurt the monsters.
Fair enough, yeah.
So she picked it up and I saw her playing it, and I played a few rounds with her and she was very good, you know. She got good quite quickly. So much so that then her brother then picked it up, who was basically stolen on my Switch while I was out, and I came in to see them sat on the sofa fighting a Lagombi, and it was just brilliant. Like it's so satisfying, you know. It's weird. It's nice to share that thing with them, and they were wrecking him and just laughing, you know. And the Bella was like, oh, you know, I don't want to kill these. This isn't very nice. So I was like, well, you can trap them. So I showed her how to trap them. And then she couldn't be bothered because it was too difficult. So it's like there was that moment of like I don't know what you'd call it, like that innocent moment, and then she realised actually, like logistically, let's just wreck these things.
That's like ethics versus realism,
exactly. Isn't it? But these are cracking games, and I always find like you almost have to go through like a renaissance of these types of games because you get a bit burned out on it, don't you?
Yeah, you do. I mean, obviously I've got a daughter and a son, and my son's too young to play games at the minute anyway. But my daughter's not really into games as much. She's very much a bookworm. Yeah. And she wouldn't get on with this sort of game at all. She just wouldn't. You know, she doesn't have the perseverance for it. But it's lovely to see that your kids have picked it up. And just things like, there's a lot of in-jokes. When we talk about things like Monster Hunter, obviously sometimes we can't get across certain things like the Lagombi has become like the staple monster that we laugh at over the years. Since the first time we fought him in whatever it was, 3 Ultimate, 4 Ultimate, I forget. But, you know, obviously this huge bunny rabbit basically that just strolls into the snowy scene that you're in. So obviously the amount of times over the years that we've laughed at the Lagombi or sent each other messages or whatever. So obviously for you to come in and see your kids, you know, fighting him of all the monsters, you know. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, I think there's an area of the game that we haven't quite put as much time into. We did actually in 4U, I think. Yeah. You know, the arena quests and all of that and the events.
Yeah.
There's some brilliant ones. So we've been doing a lot of arenas and events, you know, so she's not the best player in the world. So I can see her struggling and I can be like, run over there, and then I'll knock the barrier, you know, and it will like lock her on one side, or she'll do that to me on purpose. There's some great ones. I remember we did the Gold and Silver Raytheon back in the day.
Yeah, that wasn't
disgusting.
That was in a specific arena, wasn't it? It wasn't an arena one.
It was like on that plateau, wasn't it?
But there were ones like, do you remember there was like a Zelda one where you got Zelda armor or Zelda something for doing it? That was tough, wasn't it?
And there's all of that. There's loads of things we could go for. We need to go back to it. And also another area that I think just because we're like old and grumpy, we just ignored it. Right. The Palico and the Palamute, like their armor and their loadout and builds can be massively customized.
Yeah.
I walked into like my dog had been turned into this like, cyborg. I'll show you on the footage. Yeah. It looks incredible. I was trying to be annoyed because it costs like them like $100,000 or something. But you know what I'm like with money in the game.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I did discover. Yeah. Right? You've got these like crystal eggs and they're just made for selling.
Oh, nice.
So I found £1 million worth of them. I'm making it pounds.
Why not?
Sold all of them instantly. Thanks very much. I'm a millionaire. So that's what you're looking at right
down
now.
The market. 2 for £1.
Del Boy and Rodney out the back of their
crystal
truck.
Eggs, come on, who wants one?
Exactly. So yeah, everyone should own this game anyway, but if you don't, join me and the kids playing it online.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, cracking game. If you can get into it, and this is the most accessible one yet. Oh man, yeah, such a good game. I wish I could forget everything about it and play it again for the first time. But yeah, that's 6 games that we've been playing over the last few weeks. As always, please do let us know of any that you've been playing. We do like to read in the comments what people have been up to.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're going to buy yourself some physicals and whatnot, we've got PlayAsia links down there. There's links down there as well to save a bit of money on digital. Check it out if you want to.
Absolutely. Quick thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.